There's a silent truth about success that few fully understand. A truth so simple, so fundamental, that most people spend their entire lives looking straight at it without ever realizing it. And that truth is this: the universe doesn't respond to what you want, but rather to how you act. Think for a moment about everything you have ever deeply wanted in life. That job, that relationship, that financial condition, that feeling of inner peace. How many times have you viewed it? How many times have you stated? How many times have you wished with all the strength of your heart? And yet, many of these desires remain distant dreams. Wallace D. Wattles, one of the great prosperity teachers, revealed the secret more than a century ago in his works. He said, "There's a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science, like algebra or arithmetic. There are certain laws that govern the process of acquiring riches. And when these laws are learned and obeyed, any person will get rich with mathematical certainty." What Wattles discovered, and what most have not yet realized, is that there is a specific way of acting that puts you in harmony with the creative forces of the universe, a way that makes everything, people, circumstances, opportunities, seem to naturally conspire in your favor. Observe nature. The seed does not strive to become a tree. It simply acts according to its intrinsic nature, in perfect harmony with the soil, the water, the sun. She doesn't force the process. She allows the process to happen through her. Likewise, there's a profound difference between acting big and acting right. Most people operate in the struggle paradigm, believing that success comes from pushing harder, from working longer hours, from sacrificing more. They live in the do more paradigm. But there is another paradigm, the flow paradigm, the certain way of doing things paradigm. In this paradigm, you do not fight against the current of life. You move with it, understanding its laws and principles, allowing it to work through you and for you. The difference between these two paradigms is the difference between exhaustion and energization, between frustration and fulfillment, between scarcity and abundance. One leaves you exhausted, the other renewed. One drains your vital energy, the other amplifies it. Have you ever had moments in your life when everything seemed to flow effortlessly? Moments when the pieces just fell into place, the doors opened, the right people showed up, and everything worked with almost magical ease? These were not fortuitous accidents. These were moments when, consciously or unconsciously, you were acting in the right way. Moments when your inner being and your outer actions were perfectly aligned with the laws that govern success. To fully understand the power of right action, we need to understand the three universal laws that govern all human achievement. These laws operate whether you recognize them or not, just as the law of gravity operates regardless of your belief in it. The first is the correspondence law. This ancient principle, expressed in the phrases within, so without, reveals that your outer world always reflects your inner world. Your physical reality is a perfect mirror of your internal state. When you act from an internal state of lack, your outer world reflects that lack. When you act from an inner state of abundance, your outer world reflects that abundance. The question is not just what you do, but the state of consciousness from which your action emerges. A man who built a financial empire started with just an idea and unwavering determination. What differentiated him was not his circumstances, may start with little, but the quality of his internal state. He never acted like someone trying to escape poverty. He consistently acted like someone who was naturally aligned with prosperity, even when his bank account said otherwise. The second law is the law of vibration. Everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies, including your thoughts, feelings, and actions. When your actions are vibrationally aligned with what you want to manifest, you become a powerful magnet for it. A woman deeply desired a loving partner. For years, her actions were motivated by lack. She went out, socialized, used dating apps, all with the underlying energy of "I need to find someone." This vibration of need repelled precisely what she sought. When she understood the law of vibration, she completely changed her approach. She began to act like someone who was already filled with love. She took care of herself as a devoted lover would. He bought flowers for his own home. He created moments of beauty and romance for himself. Your vibration has changed from "I need love" to "I am love." Within months, she attracted a relationship that mirrored the same quality of love that she had cultivated internally. The third is the law of receptivity. This law teaches that there is a balance between doing and allowing, between action and receptivity. Right action is never forced, is receptive. It doesn't come from a place of control, but from a place of trust. An artist was struggling to create his masterpiece. The more he pushed the creative process, the more blocked he felt. One day, exhausted from the fight, he surrendered. He let go of his expectations and simply allowed inspiration to flow through him. In that state of open receptivity, he created his finest work. The revolutionary truth is this: it's not how much you do, it's the state of where you do it. A single action aligned with these three laws, correspondence, vibration, and receptivity, has more power than 1,000 misaligned actions. When you act from an internal state that matches what you want to create, when your actions vibrate at the same frequency as your vision, and when you perfectly balance doing and allowing, you have discovered the right way to act. And when that happens, it's as if the universe itself opens its way before you. Imagine a man rowing against the current. Your muscles ache, sweat runs down your face. He tries enormously, but only advances a few centimeters every minute. His hands are blistered, his back screams in protest. But he persists, believing that his value lies in the intensity of his effort and the strength of his determination to overcome the current. Beside you, another boat glides gently through the water. This second man is not paddling against the current. He studied the river, understood its patterns, and now navigates with the current, using it to his advantage. He still rows, he still steers his boat. He is still involved in the process, but with a fraction of the effort of the first man. He covers 10 times the distance. The first man watches in frustration. Why does he advance so easily while I fight so hard? The answer is simple, but profound. It is not the effort that determines the result, but the way of applying it. The first man works against natural laws. The second works in harmony with them. This parable perfectly illustrates how most people live. Our society glorifies effort, reverences the fight, celebrates those who overcome adversity and persevere against all obstacles. And there is undoubtedly value in perseverance, but there is a subtle and crucial difference between aligned persistence and exhausting stubbornness. Ask yourself, where in your life are you paddling against the current? Where are you struggling when you could be flowing? Where are you forcing when you could be allowing? Maybe it's in your work, where you push and push, trying to make things happen through sheer force of will, when you could be discovering the path of least resistance to the same goal. Maybe it's in a relationship where you're trying to change the other person, when you could be discovering how to harmoniously navigate who they really are. Maybe it's in your health, where you force extreme diets and punishing exercise regimes, when you could be discovering ways of movement and nutrition that your body naturally celebrates. The illusion of effort makes us believe that the more difficult something is, the more valuable it must be. But the reality of alignment reveals a different truth. When something flows with ease, it is because it is aligned with who you truly are and the natural laws that govern success. That doesn't mean there won't be work involved. The man in the second boat is still rowing, but he rows with the forces of nature, not against them. He steers his boat with wisdom, not brute force. Likewise, right action is not the absence of action. It's aligned action. It's doing what needs to be done, but from an internal state of harmony, not struggle. It's recognizing that results come not from the quantity of your effort, but from the quality of your alignment. The universe does not reward your struggle. It rewards your alignment. When you act from an internal state that is in harmony with what you want to create, when your actions are aligned with the natural laws of success, you enter a flow where effort decreases and results increase. This is the paradox of right action. The less you force, the more you accomplish. The less you fight, the more you create. The less you resist, the more you receive. Wallace D. Wattles taught us that the right action is made up of 3 essential elements that must be perfectly aligned: thought, feeling, and physical movement. When these 3 components are in harmony, you create an irresistible force that magnetizes your deepest desires into your reality. Thought is the seed. It's the clear and specific idea of what you want to create. Feeling is the fertile soil. It is the emotional state that nourishes and energizes thought. Physical movement is water and sunlight. It is the tangible action that allows the seed to germinate and grow. Most people experience incongruence between these three elements. They think of abundance, but feel scarcity. They imagine health, but feel illness. They visualize love, but they act from fear. This incongruity creates misaligned actions that produce contradictory or unsatisfactory results. Examine your own life. Where is there incongruity between what you think, feel, and do? Maybe you consciously think about financial success, but feel anxiety every time you check your bank account. Or perhaps you visualize a healthy body, but feel guilt and deprivation while exercising or eating. These inconsistencies are not character flaws. They are simply energetic patterns that can be identified and realigned. The first step to the right action is to create congruence between thought, feeling, and movement. A woman deeply wanted a new job. She sent out resumes, did interviews, followed all the correct steps. But each attempt ended in frustration. One day, she discovered the teachings about the right way to act and decided to examine the congruence in her actions. She realized that while she was thinking about professional success, she was afraid of rejection. While she envisioned a positive work environment, she acted desperate in interviews, while affirming abundance. His body contracted with tension when discussing salary. With this awareness, she began to realign her three components before each interview. She aligned her thoughts with clear images of herself contributing exceptional value. He aligned his feelings by cultivating genuine gratitude for the opportunity to share his talents. He aligned his physical movements by adjusting his posture, his breathing, and his tone of voice to reflect calm confidence. She rearranged her workspace at home as if it was already in the desired position. He started getting dressed each morning as if he were going to his dream job. I studied and practiced the necessary skills not with desperation, but with the calm confidence of someone who is already on the right path. And then something curious happened. Without warning, he received a call from a company he hadn't even contacted. Someone had recommended his name. The interview was different from any previous one. It flowed naturally, effortlessly. 3 days later, he received an offer for an even better position than he had imagined. What changed? It wasn't his qualifications. It was the congruence between your thoughts, feelings, and actions. She discovered the right way to act. This is the transformative truth. The universe does not respond to what you want. Respond to what you are. And who you are reveals itself completely in the way you act, not just in your physical movements, but in the energetic totality of your actions, including the thoughts and feelings that drive them. Doing the right action requires constant self-observation. Ask yourself regularly, am I thinking, feeling, and acting in perfect harmony with what I want to create? When you identify incongruity, don't judge yourself. Simply realign yourself. If your thought is abundance, but your feeling is scarcity, work on the feeling first. Deliberately cultivate emotional states of gratitude, joy, and trust. If your feeling is love, but your physical action communicates fear, work on action. Adjust your posture, your breathing, your facial expression, until your body is in complete harmony with your feeling. The right way of acting is not a superficial technique. It is a deep integration practice that brings together all dimensions of your being into a coherent and powerful whole. When you act in this integrated way, there is no internal resistance dissipating your energy. All the strength of your being flows in a single direction, creating a magnetic field that naturally attracts what resonates with it. At the heart of the right way is a revolutionary principle that completely transforms how you navigate the manifestation process, creative anticipation. This principle, taught by Wattles and other prosperity teachers, can be summarized in the phrase act as if it already is. But there is a crucial distinction here. Creative anticipation is not pretense. It's not pretending to be something you're not. It is recognizing and expressing the deepest truth of who you already are in potential, a potential that exists now, not in some distant future. When you act as if you are already who you want to become, you are not lying to yourself. It is aligning with a truth deeper than surface appearances. You are allowing the highest version of yourself to express itself through your present actions. Your body and mind do not distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined experience. When you act as if you already have what you want, your nervous system, your endocrine glands, your entire physical being responds as if it were already real. This is a demonstrable scientific fact. An athlete who vividly visualizes the perfect victory activates the same neural circuits that would be activated during the actual performance. A musician who mentally rehearses a piece of music with total sensory immersion develops the same dexterity that he would develop by practicing physically. Creative anticipation takes this principle beyond mental visualization. Incorporate it into your daily physical actions. What does this look like in practice? If you want financial prosperity, how would you act if you were already abundant? Maybe you would walk more calmly, breathe more fully, choose your words more calmly. Maybe I would buy less on impulse and more with conscious deliberation. Maybe you would invest more time in financial education and less time worrying about bills. If you want vibrant health, how would you act if you were already radiant with vitality? Maybe you would move with more energy. Choose foods that actually nourish your body. Get adequate rest without guilt. If you want a deep relationship, how would you act if you were already in a harmonious union? Perhaps you would cultivate more depth in your current friendships, create more space for genuine intimacy, communicate your boundaries with more clarity and love. Here is the temporal paradox that few understand. The future does not create the present. The present creates the future. The sequence is not when I have it, then I will be it, and then I can do it. The true sequence is when I do the right way, I become, and then naturally I have. Acting the right way is reorganizing the energy field around you. When you consistently act like the person you want to become, you emit a vibrational frequency that attracts experiences, people, and circumstances that resonate with that frequency. It's not magic. It's quantum physics applied to everyday life. It is recognizing that you are, fundamentally, a vibrational being in a vibrational universe. And the frequency you emit through your actions, not just what you do, but how you do it, determines what you attract and create. Creative anticipation is perhaps the most powerful tool at your disposal to transform your life. It is the bridge between the possible and the manifest, between the potential and the actual. It's how you bring the future into the present, not as an escapist fantasy, but as a transformative practice. Even with an understanding of universal laws and the practice of creative anticipation, you will inevitably encounter internal blocks that make aligned action difficult. These blockages are not your enemy. They are powerful teachers who, when recognized and transformed, become your greatest allies on the path to conscious manifestation. The four most common saboteurs of aligned action are doubt, fear, impatience, and comparison. Each creates a specific pattern of misalignment that diminishes your magnetic power and makes manifestation difficult. Doubt is the first saboteur. She constantly whispers, "What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not able to do it? What if it's not possible for me?" Doubt creates a pattern of hesitant, inconsistent, divided action. When you act under the influence of doubt, you send mixed signals to the universe. Part of you moves toward what you want. Part of you pulls back. A businessman struggled to expand his business. Despite knowing the right strategies, their implementation was always partial and hesitant. When he examined his internal state, he discovered that behind every action there was a voice of doubt questioning whether he really deserved the success he sought. The transformation began when he recognized that doubt didn't need to be eliminated, just integrated. He began to say, "I feel doubt, and yet I choose to act with certainty." This simple shift, acknowledging doubt without identifying with it, released tremendous creative energy. Fear is the second saboteur. Unlike doubt, which questions possibility, fear anticipates negative consequences. What if I'm rejected? What if I fail publicly? What if I lose what I already have? Fear creates a pattern of contracted, defensive, overly cautious action. A writer dreamed of publishing her book, but year after year, she kept the manuscript hidden. Fear of criticism created a pattern of paralyzing perfectionism. She rewrote over and over, never considering the work good enough. His body literally contracted when he imagined other people reading his words. His transformation began when he learned to use his body as an alignment detector. She noticed how fear created specific physical tension in her chest and shoulders. He developed a body awareness practice where, when he felt this tension, he breathed deeply and physically expanded the contracted area. Over time, he learned to expand not just his body but his actions, gradually moving toward sharing his work, first with trusted friends, then with a larger group. Impatience is the third saboteur. She insists it should be happening faster. I've done everything right. Where are the results? Impatience creates a pattern of hasty, forced, unbalanced action. When you act under the influence of impatience, you interfere with the natural timing of the manifestation process. An investor consistently lost money in the financial markets despite having solid knowledge. His pattern was to buy impulsively and sell prematurely, always looking for immediate results. Impatience led him to act against his own well-founded strategy. His transformation began when he recognized that impatience came from a deep belief that there would never be enough for him. This belief in scarcity generated constant urgency. He developed a specific gratitude practice, focusing daily on the abundant evidence of enoughness in his life. Over time, his impatience lessened, allowing him to act with the wisdom of perfect timing. Comparison is the fourth saboteur. She laments others are moving faster, achieving more, doing better. Comparison creates a pattern of inauthentic, imitative action, disconnected from its true essence. When you act under the influence of comparison, you stray from your unique path and try to follow someone else's path. The life coach was frustrated with the slow growth of his business. Observing the success of colleagues on social media, I constantly tried to emulate their strategies, aesthetics, and offerings. His actions came not from his unique gift, but from his desire to be like others. Naturally, these efforts produced mediocre results. His transformation began when a mentor challenged him to do a comparison detox, 30 days without consuming content from his competitors. During this period, he rediscovered his authentic voice and unique gifts. His actions, now aligned with his true essence, began to attract clients who specifically resonated with what only he could offer. These blocks, doubt, fear, impatience, and comparison, are not your enemies. They are your teachers. Each reveals a specific limiting belief that, when transformed, unlocks a new level of personal power. They are opportunities for deeper realignment, for more complete integration, for more powerful manifestation. The right way to act is not a one-time intervention, but a daily practice that gradually transforms your vibrational field and, consequently, your physical reality. The secret to mastering this art lies not in grand dramatic actions, but in the consistency of small, everyday choices, moments in which you deliberately choose to act from alignment, rather than habitual reaction. Start each day with a morning alignment ritual. Dedicate the first moments of your day, before checking emails, news, or social media, to intentionally establish the internal state from which your actions will flow. This doesn't need to be an elaborate ritual. It can be as simple as 3 deep breaths while feeling gratitude for the new day, or 5 minutes visualizing yourself moving through the day from your highest self. One highly successful CEO attributes much of his success to a just 7-minute morning ritual, during which he consciously connects with 3 states: gratitude for what he already has, clarity about what he is creating, and service about how he will contribute that day. This simple morning alignment infuses all your subsequent actions with a quality that naturally attracts success. Your physical environment has a profound influence on your internal state and, consequently, on the quality of your actions. Structure your space to support aligned actions. Even small adjustments can have a significant impact. A meaningful object on your desk that symbolizes your greater purpose. An affirmative sentence on your mirror. Colors that evoke the emotional state you want to cultivate. An artist struggling with creative blocks completely transformed her workflow simply by rearranging her studio to reflect not who she was, but who she was becoming. A prolific, confident creator. Before he even created more art, his daily actions in the redesigned space began to change, and productivity naturally blossomed. The practice of act from the end can be applied to every decision of your day. Before taking any meaningful action, an important call, a meeting, even a conversation with a loved one, pause for a moment and ask, how would the highest version of me act in this situation? Then act from this expanded awareness, not from the usual limitations. A manager who used to dread team meetings transformed his leadership using this practice. Before each meeting, he took 30 seconds to visualize himself leading from the best version of himself, confident, compassionate, clear. This brief alignment completely changed the dynamics of their interactions. Not just their own experience, but the engagement and productivity of the entire team. The power of aligned micro-actions cannot be underestimated. 5 seconds of the right action can change the course of an entire day, sometimes a life. The way you answer the phone, the tone you use to respond to an email, the posture with which you enter a room. These seemingly insignificant moments are powerful opportunities to practice acting the right way. A financial advisor who has helped hundreds of people transform their finances noticed an interesting pattern. It was not the complexity of investment strategies that determined success, but the quality of small, daily actions. The way his customers open a bank statement with fear and contraction or with calm, confident attention turned out to be a more accurate indicator of future financial success than the bank balance itself. Practicing the right action is a journey of gradual transformation. Small changes in the way you act create subtle shifts in your vibration, which eventually manifest big changes in your external reality. Don't underestimate the power of small, consistent choices. Over time, they literally redesign the energetic patterns of your life. The key is gentle, non-judgmental self-observation. Notice when your actions come from fear, doubt, scarcity, and gently realign yourself. Notice when your actions flow from confidence, clarity, abundance, and consciously amplify that state. With consistent practice, the right way of acting becomes not just a technique you apply, but a natural expression of who you are. The path we travel together reveals a transformative truth. The universe responds not to what you want or expect, but to the vibrational nature of your actions. The 3 universal laws of correspondence. Vibration and receptivity continually operate in your life, whether you are aware of them or not. The flow paradigm, in contrast to the struggle paradigm, offers a path to fulfillment that energizes rather than exhausts. The illusion of effort makes us believe that success comes from strength and struggle, when the reality of alignment shows us that the most powerful results emerge when we act in harmony with natural laws. The practical science of right action teaches us that we need to align thought, feeling, and physical movement in perfect congruence to manifest our deepest desires. The principle of creative anticipation invites us to reverse the apparent sequence of cause and effect, acting now as if we already were who we wish to become, emitting the vibrational frequency that magnetically attracts corresponding circumstances, and even when we encounter internal blocks, doubt, fear, impatience, comparison, we can transform them into teachers who guide us into even deeper alignment. The daily practice of right action offers us countless opportunities for realignment, from the morning ritual that sets the tone for the day, to the environment we build around us, to the micro choices we make in each moment. And now, we come to the decision point. Knowledge without action is just information. Wisdom emerges when you incorporate this knowledge into your daily choices. I invite you to start right now, not tomorrow, not when circumstances are perfect, now. Identify an area of your life where you want to see transformation. It could be your finances, your health, your relationships, your creative career. Now, ask yourself, how would a person who has already achieved what I want in this area act? Identify 3 small specific actions you can take today, not from who you think you are, but from who you are becoming. What if today was the day you discovered the power of right action? What if this moment marked the beginning of a new way of interacting with the universe, no longer fighting and forcing, but flowing and allowing? Remember, the external world always responds to your internal vibration, and your internal vibration manifests itself more powerfully through the quality of your actions. You already have everything you need to get started. The power is in your hands, literally, in the way you move your body through the world, in the energy you bring to every interaction, in the presence you cultivate moment to moment. The universe is waiting to conspire in your favor. It's just waiting for the signal that you send through a certain way of acting. Send this signal today, right now, and watch as the magic begins to unfold in your life.